everybody! Today we are going to be talking about ChatGPT. I finally got to ChatGPT. But most importantly, we are going to create My GPT, which will be used to calculate an estimate for a travel agent to give the cost of the tour to the client. Let's get going. First, we go to ChatGPT. As usual, I'm going to put a link in the description for you so you don't have to worry about it too much. Once you get there, you will see that you have create a workout plan. There's some suggestions here like anybody has. And in this case, like if you want to create a workout plan, you just click on create a workout plan and it creates a workout plan for you. Okay? It explains exactly what it is that you need to do in so many days. Now, something else that you can see is when you go to explore GPTs, for instance, you will see the different GPTs. And here you can scroll down the page to see like by ChatGPT or writing, different categories. But you can also see the categories right here at the top. So when you click on the writing tab, brings you down here. Then when you click on productivity, brings you down here. So you get the gist, right? When you go to My GPTs at the very top here, it will show you any GPTs you have created. Okay? And right here you can click on create a GPT in this plus, or I want to show you how I got here, just so you remember later on. So you go to ChatGPT and then go to explore GPTs. And this is where you're going to find your little create button right there, or My GPTs, okay? So when you click on the create button, we come here, and right here you can see two different things. Two different tabs. You can see create and you can see configure. The create tab, a lot of people use the create tab, but I find that it will actually sometimes not work the way it should. It's better if you go straight to the configure tab. Okay, stay in the configure tab. I have a whole set of instructions that I can give to you, and I'm going to put this in the description as well. So just so you at least you will have the document, and I'm not gonna ask for your email address, nothing like that. It's just going to I'm just gonna put it in a PDF and you can get it. But then here you need to add the name of your GPT, because this is going to be about a travel agent asking a tour guide how much it would cost to create an estimate for a trip from Vancouver to Banff National Park in Alberta, in Canada. I'm going to call it, but I mean, this could be for anything, right? For any trip. So I'm going to make it tour estimates. And description would be this GPT is to calculate tour estimates. Now you notice that on the right hand side here you will see that now you have a name, tour estimate, and what the description is, exactly what you just wrote here. Whatever you write here doesn't really matter. This is just basically instructions for you to understand later on, if you have a bunch, which one is the tour estimate GPT. That's all, okay? Nothing else. And if you wanted to create a logo, you can. So you just click on this plus here, and you can either upload a photo. If you already have a photo, that's great, or you can use DALL-E, and based on what you wrote here, it will create a picture for you. And if you don't like it, you can ask it to recreate. It's fine, okay? And there you go. You see, it created this. And if you want to redo this picture, you can use DALL-E again. That's fine. But I'm happy with it. I don't really care that much. Now, the instructions. This is where I'm going to show you what I have prepared. And basically this is it. First of all, it's divided into different sections. The first thing you need to do is you need to tell GPT what job this GPT has in your company. Okay? Like you would explain to a person. You're gonna come here, talk to a person and say, well, look, I need you to do this job. Okay, so you go and you explain. And here in this case, it's explaining that this person is an administrative assistant and what the job is, which is to make estimates for tours to Jasper or to anywhere, not just Jasper, to Banff, sorry, anywhere, not just to Banff. And then there are some steps. So I divided into 4 steps. Number 1 is the tour summary step. So this is a summary of the tour that is provided in a specific format, output format. Then accommodation steps. We need to know where these people are going to stay, what hotels, right? And then the calculation steps. This is where you estimate the price of everything, guide rates, tour price, gas costs, meals, all that. And then the last one is the final draft steps. This is where the GPT will create the estimate. And then I give steps about the tour. I wanted to lay out the name of the travel agent based on the email that was received, the destination name, and the trip description. And then after that, you need to ask me if this is correct and can I start with the accommodation protocol. And then if I say yes, then you go through the accommodation steps, right? So here should be steps. And then if I respond with no, then you have to revise the information in the initial format. And once it's revised, you can ask again, can I start with the accommodation steps? And if I respond yes, then you go through the accommodation steps. And if I respond with a no, then you revise the information again, and then you ask again. Now, the accommodation steps. In this step, your job is to calculate the price for the hotel accommodation, gas cost, staff cost, based on the travel agent's request. And then to make the best decision regarding accommodation and travel costs, you can ask me the necessary questions, including how many kilometers will be traveled for the gas calculations. And once I give all the answers, you give me a rough draft of the information you gathered, and then you ask me if that information is accurate or if I would like to revise it. So then I give the format I want GPT to give to me. For instance, hotel, list the name, and then the gas cost, list the number, and continue in that format for each item, meals, all that. Then we go to the calculation steps. So this is where you calculate the estimate based on the previous outputs in this conversation and information that you have gathered. And the questions you may ask to help you calculate the total estimate for this tour is, how many kilometers are you going to drive in this tour? What are the preferred hotels in this tour? How many stars should the hotels have? So once the questions have been answered, you can calculate the estimate. And then to calculate the guide wages, you can use $300 per day. And then you can ask me the following question to help you calculate the total job estimate. How many days are you estimating this tour to take? How many kilometers would you be driving per day in this tour? What is your preferred hotel to stay at? How many people per room? How many meals per day? What are your preferred restaurants? And once all the questions have been answered, you can calculate the estimate. And once you have calculated all this information, give me the total estimate and add 15% to the total for my fees. And after each calculation, you can ask me if this estimate looks good or if it needs any revisions. And if I say yes, move on to the final draft steps. And then the final draft steps is once all calculations have been completed, we can move on to this step where I want you to combine all the information we have gained into a professional format that I can send to the client. Okay, so basically all I'm gonna do is I'm going to copy all this and I am going to ChatGPT and enter all this information in the instructions. And then the conversation starters. The conversation starter is going to be a button, and it's just going to be called Start the Estimate. That's it. Okay. Now, there are other things here. You can upload files for knowledge. So if you wanted if you had a whole information about the tours and the prices and everything into a document, you can upload them in knowledge here. So that would be knowledge for the GPT to look into to find the answers to the questions. They could have been that way as well. Okay. And then if you want a code interpreter, you could have put in here, we are not using code or anything else. And a new action, you could create a new action, and that would be for you to, you can import from URL. There are some examples here, JSON or other different actions, but we are not going to get into any action. We're just going to go with something that is simpler. As long as you enter all the instructions like I did, it should work. Okay. And then finally, I'm just going to click on create at the top right. Right here is your create button. Right here. And then here comes the question. Who is going to have access to it? So is this going to go into the GPT store where everybody will have access to it? Is this for people only, anyone that has the link, or is just me? If you're working with someone else, you could give the link to co-workers. That would be the second option. Here I'm just going to go with only me, and then I'm going to click on save. And there it is. So now it's saving and you can view the GPT. Okay. So now let's execute this. I have an email that I have created from a travel agent. It's called Tour to Banff. So here, dear Wow BC Tours, I am a travel agent in Arizona. Would like to get an estimate for a tour to Banff. I have a group of 20 people. Would like to spend a week there visiting the different parks. But don't forget that we're going from Vancouver, right, to Banff. So the bus has to travel from Vancouver to Banff. So it has to add about 3 more days. It's going to be 10 days altogether. Okay. And can you send me an estimate for the group? Again, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to go to my GPT and I am going to enter my message right here. Okay. Okay. Oh, actually started without me asking for it to start it first, so that's fine. So there you go. He gave you the travel agent's name, the destination name, and also a week long in the different parks. Can I start with the accommodation steps? My answer is yes. And now it will give you the answer. So how many hotels do you have in mind? Who should I suggest? And I would answer the name of the hotel and all that needs to be done. How many rooms do you need for the group of 20 people? Is number 1 is 2 people. There you go. So I answered the questions that it wanted me to answer. How many people per room? what's the name of the hotel, how many kilometers per day, how many meals per day, and what preferred meal. And then it keeps on going. So it has, is this information correct? Yes. And then it asks more questions. How many days will the tour last? So 1 is 7, 2 is no. And then thank you for the information, and it calculates everything for you. It shows you exactly what it was. The meal cost, the whole thing. It keeps on going, and finally, does this calculation look good? Do you have any revisions? You would look at it, of course, and you would say no revisions, because there's too many questions. Does the estimate look good? Does it need any revisions? So yes to look good and no to revisions. And then you continue on, and finally here is the estimate. And then that's it. Please let me know if you need any further assistance or adjustments. So there it is, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. It was quite a week prepping for this, making sure that I got it all right. You have to test it, okay? And if things don't work out right, go back, change your prompt. Maybe your sentence wasn't well understood. In the beginning, I had asked for it to give me the name of the travel agent. Well, I gave the name of my company. That's not what I wanted. So I had to go back and give me the name of the agent who sent the email. And then it put it correctly. Okay, so you need to test it. I hope you liked it. Please subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. I would like to thank Margaret for asking me to create this video for her to understand, to automate her tasks. I really appreciate your help, Margaret. And if you have any suggestions, please let me know. And every week I have a new video. Until then, bye!